Usually in a snake year, and you're born in the year of snake, it will means that it'll be a year of change for you. Okay.
Is that a good thing or?
Okay, so if you are a person that's very comfortable with what you're doing right now, and you don't like change, you will start to attribute that as a bad thing that happens to you.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Open House, where every conversation opens a new perspective. I'm your host, Durga, and today we have Master Kevin Foong, a renowned award-winning Feng Shui master consultant for our very special Chinese New Year episode. This is a year of the snake, and we're very excited to find out what the year holds for us. So, Master Kevin, thank you so much for joining us on Open House. Let's actually start with your journey, of how you became a Feng Shui master. What inspired you to start on this particular journey?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here today. So this probably brings me back to, I would say, the year 1997. I was only 17 that year. It was the Asia financial crisis, I still remember. Parents lost quite a bit of money back then. We lost our house and then we downsized and shifted to a very small house. But that's just the starting point. And then that brought me the questions, why? Why do all these things happen? Will this ever happen again? Maybe, I don't know, in 10 years, 20 years? So having that notion brought me to getting answers. I started going to temples, churches, to try to get answers. Where do all of this come out? And then, of course, one fine day I stumbled upon a book on Feng Shui. So it says that there's actually a system that we can actually calculate based on our date of birth and time. And then I stumbled upon the subject of 𝙤𝙗. So that was the starting point. And then, of course, in that short amount of time, I have the honor of learning under many different other trainers, mentors in this discipline over the spectrum of 20 years. So that brought me to what we are doing today. Yeah.
Right. Now, Feng Shui, it means wind, water, literally, right? And basically about using the energy forces, the individuals, to harmonize with the environment. Could you share more on this and, what it actually means to, each one of us? Because, there are believers, there are non-believers, but I think energy is something that we all sort of carry in ourselves and within our environment, right? So maybe you could share a little bit more
Sure.
about.
So the context of Feng and Shui, right, talks about two elements. First is wind over water, right? So we're not just talking about the physical wind that's blowing in your face, not in that context. But what we're actually saying is, in this world, there's energy moving around us. In fact, as far as I can define this, everything is about energy in this world. If we look at where we are actually staying right now, on planet Earth, there's always a day and night. Okay, so you get a day system and you get a night system. So that's the translation of a yang and the yin energy. So by that definition of Feng Shui, it's telling us that if you understand how this energy is moving in the place that you are staying, right, then by having your place tuned to accepting this energy, and then of course with energy there's both good and bad energy. Okay, bad energy, very common term, will be known as, they call it poison arrow or 𝙤𝙤. Okay, so that's hostile energy. People will always ask this question: do I need to subscribe to Feng Shui in order for it to happen? Under the same notion, I always mention that, you see, oxygen happen without you seeing it. Whether you believe there's oxygen or not, oxygen actually appears. Right? It's just one part of science. Let's just say that normal individuals, you have not subscribed to Feng Shui yet, right? And then you move into this place, short amount of time, you started to feel that something is not right. People is falling sick, there's a lot of conflict, or, ever since you move in, it just seems to keep your wealth. So when I talk about this topic about one cannot keep their wealth, is there'll be a lot of events that happen that takes money away from you. It could be a loved ones, right? They need some emergency money.
Like someone falling sick.
Yeah, someone falling sick. And so what actually is going on? So see, then that brings us to then use a system to determine, are there anything wrong?
But some houses, it may not look as nice, but you feel immediately we use the word connection, but is that similar to the energy, like in the house?
There is. Okay, so why are you getting these sort of feelings? Let me just explain it in a scientific term. So under our date of birth and time, that's known as 𝙤𝙗 in general, some people around us, they have this sort of intuition, stars as connected. What do I mean by that? They become very intuitive in all senses. All right, they are not just able to just sense a house energy. They can also sense a human being energy.
I see.
So example, maybe you have a new colleague that walk through the door, and then you just have a glance at him. You bounce off some of energy to him and he comes back. But you have not officially spoke to him yet. But yet you have some gut feeling about this person. 3 to 6 months in, you realize you were correct. On the day that you first met this person, you get some guts feeling and some information about him, even though you completely do not know them. So that actually comes from people in their BaZi having a certain stars. It's called intuition stars.
I
Now,
see.
by the same context, if you step onto a house, a body does have our own radar system as well. You know, some people will just like, this house feel eerie.
Yes.
Although the light is on, but just seems that something is not right. Some of us, you know, you go to a certain place, you may get goosebumps or you may get a chill down your back. Okay, so that's your personal senses. On a good note is when you are at a certain house and you feel something about that house, you can actually look into your gut feelings. What is your gut feelings trying to tell you? Okay, half of the times if you realize your gut feeling in the past, you've been pretty right about most things, whether it's people, whether it's environment, then trust that instinct. Okay, that's your own personal Feng Shui direction.
I see. Wow,
Yeah.
that's really interesting. So, would you say Feng Shui is religious, spiritual, scientific, or maybe a combination of everything?
Okay, in short, I would say that Feng Shui is purely science. Before I talk about Feng Shui, let's just go back to plotting, let's say, your date of birth and time, the BaZi system. How we actually calculated a BaZi, like in my website, you see there's a BaZi profiler. Someone puts in the date of birth and time, just hit the plot button. Your personalized chart came out in less than 2 seconds. The minute you can understand this, it means that this was compiled using data point, right? So the calculation is actually goes to the Earth and the Sun position, all right? We use this 24 solar terms because technically the Earth goes around the Sun, right, one whole round, right? That's a year. So then it breaks down into the 4 seasons. Okay, Chinese we say 春夏秋冬. This is your 4 seasonal season, and of course then we also put in the 5 element. So all of this will tell you that there's a science behind it for this sort of calculation. The same things apply with Feng Shui. So Feng Shui all the while exists is based purely on science. We analyze directions. We analyze the northern hemisphere versus the southern hemisphere, the climate itself, right? Whether a place is too hot, too cold, will all takes in the context of Feng Shui. But of course, having said that, some people will depict Feng Shui as being religious because you will get some masters that will strive to bring into religion completely. Like they will tell you, oh, this is Feng Shui. I'm going to give you this talisman, burn it into a drink. You have to drink it because I did some chanting on it. So that's the mix of using Feng Shui and, you know, maybe a Taoism system together. So then people start to get confused. People think that, oh, okay, Feng Shui is all about a religion because I have to offer incense and everything. No, actually, Feng Shui by itself can be used without any religion. All right? So if you just apply Feng Shui by itself, it's a system. But again, I did mention some masters will include both Feng Shui and Taoism into it and use that as a professional practice. I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong towards that. Both has its own application. From that context, if a client were to go to this sort of masters that practice both, then they get the idea that, oh, you know, for sure this is under Taoism. That's why these things happen. Yeah. So that sets the misconception that people start to think that that's actually a religion. I have to believe in it for it to happen. Further from the fact, it's actually not. Yeah.
So on that topic, you've also shared, like, based on all your talks and everything, that you blend, modernity with ancient wisdom, because it is a practice that is centuries old, right, from China. Could you tell us more about this? Because I also understand that, people also tend to confuse Western astrology, like our zodiac signs, and then you have the Indian astrology, Vedic astrology, and then you also have Feng Shui. So how do all of this, come together, so to speak? And if someone were to ask you, which one do I believe in to improve my energy or my luck or my success, what would you say to them?
Sure. So let's just understand that there's a system for everything, and at the end of the day, it's not about which system is better. All I say is it depends on how many hours the practitioner put into the system, into understanding how do we actually use that to do forecasting, to do interpretation. So let's just talk about things like our date of birth and time. So there's many systems in the market that people can use to study or analyze from the date of birth and time that we are born. What is our journey in life? what sort of characteristics, traits we have, and when will be our opportunities or when will be a crisis period. So whether it's Vedic astrology, it's the BaZi system, or the Western astrology, I'll say that all three systems can accurately tell you more or less the same thing if they are all proficient at using the knowledge, right? So example, if the system is good, it should be accurately telling you that, certain years, what happened.
For the
house, for the residents in the house.
Okay.
Like, so if you're staying there,
what will happen in 2 years?
Yeah, what happened in maybe last 2 years, last 3 years, or last 4 years.
I see.
Of course, then there's a saying that, oh no, Feng Shui is only good at predicting past events. It can't forecast future events. That can't be a logic, because if you can forecast past event accurately,
you should be able
to forecast
project,
future. Yeah. But of course, we are not saying that everything is cast in stone, because the definition of Feng Shui always comes down to this Trinity energy. We call that the heaven, the man, and the earth energy. So heaven energy is telling you to understand yourself, everything about yourself, starting from the date of birth and time you're born. Earth energy is all about the place that you're staying in, the office you're using right now. Your earth energy will tell you that how's operation ever since you moved to this office. Is it better? Did things get more political? Did the company experience a lot of high turnover or bad debts? You can't seem to recover good money from clients. They're always owing you money. So those are questions that you ask. Man energy talks about yourself. So actually 1/3 of all this thing about luck is you do have a 1/3 control in it. Right? Okay. So that's a good thing to know about that. So it means that there's something you can change about that.
Something you can control.
You can control, yes. As far as man energy, do you aspire to be a better person? Do you aspire to learn more on areas that you are not doing so well right now? So that's one area we can always control. So the key thing is, as long as you understand your own date of birth and time, you stay in a good house, then the last thing that you can do is to prepare yourself for the opportunities that will arrive at certain years. Okay, how to go about doing it? Do you then do more in those years? Do you maybe set out a side hustler? Some people would quit their career, a long time career, and then for the first time. So why do all these things translate is also because of a certain changes based on their date of birth and time. And of course, the inclination of them say, you know what, I think I had enough of this career for like 20 years. Let me just do something.
It's time for a change.
Yeah, for a change and to experience life for a bit. It doesn't matter if you fail. I mean, of course, if it's successful, then it's all the more better. Then this becomes the mainstream. Yeah. So that will be the key things that we should pay attention to.
I see. Now, you also have shared that, like Feng Shui, some people look at it in different perspectives, right? So I'm sure you've met in the course of your career as a master, some people may come to you but with certain doubt, right? Like, will this actually work for me? But let me try it out. So what would you share with someone who might doubt it, and how can it improve their life? Because I think sometimes the fear is that, like, if I believe very much in Feng Shui, then do I have to constantly depend on it to succeed in life or to improve my life, where I take away my personal accountability? So how does that work, you feel?
Sure. So most of the time I said that with every information, let's not be over reliant, and we are not trying to be over, highly subscribe to one certain subject just for it to be successful. Now, let's just say this individual has been facing a lot of trouble for a long period of time. Ever since they stay in a certain place. Let's say you were in office A, you had the same management, the same team, the same people assisting you. You got a certain results. Now, ever since you shift to office B, the same team and same people move with you, but everything changed. Or maybe a high percentage of certain things changed. Your sales underperformed. There was a lot of trouble. So you need to ask yourself scientifically, what was the stimulus? What was the change in this? Right? So in that sense, that's more of a scientific view for us to question that, okay, if there's a problem, then you need to find a way to solve the problem. Okay. So the key application of Feng Shui should be just this. Feng Shui should not be overly complex. All right. My practice of Feng Shui for professional clients has always been, I just need them to sit in the particular position that I've designed for them in office. Nothing fanciful. There's no need to buy any of this fortune cat or
yes.
you want. So there's no need to put any of those things in the environment. All you have to do is just to sit in one of the good position in the office. Then what will happen, right? The key thing is what will happen. Naturally, over time, a period of 3 to 6 months, you should feel their performance changes. What sort of performance changes? You tends to be very more productive, and the ways that client has become a lot more supportive when it comes to their dealing with you. Okay, so why do all these things change? Is that's under the practice of a feng shui system. We actually balance out energy between the yin and the yang. All right,
Just by the position.
just by positioning. That's it.
Speaking of, certain months to do certain things, especially for Chinese New Year, you've worked with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. I think the list is quite endless. But, you would think that they're already Fortune 500, right? Why do they need more feng shui? So actually, what do businesses look out for specifically in that sense for Chinese New Year? Say like the year of the snake. What can they, maybe another 1 or 2 things that maybe smaller businesses can look out for like ourselves?
Let's just say on a general advice, okay, you want to start your business on the right date.
That means right after Chinese New Year.
Right after Chinese New Year, there'll be some good dates.
That you should start.
You should start. But understand that the dates will have to avoid certain zodiac sign. So example, if the director is born in, I don't know, the year of the dragon, then maybe that day is a dog day, right? As far as zodiac sign is concerned,
Okay.
then he should not be using that date. He have to use another
Another
prosperous
date that
another
is
date, right?
aligns with
So you can use that to get a good start. That's one, right? And of course, a very general key is also, this will work most of the time, not to have clutter in the office. Okay, as much as you can.
Yeah.
Of course, feng shui is not so much about, so it's all about decluttering. It's not just that. Okay, so let me just give you a brief explanation. So the main door towards your office, the first door that opens up, this is where the qi enters your office at the first glance. Let's assume that you have a lot of big boxes in that area. So your passageway becomes very narrow.
So it's blocking.
It's blocking. So that blocking in the context of feng shui already starts to create obstacles for the company. In most time, it will be financial cash flow, right? But of course, if we want to go deeper, what sort of problem it creates, then we look at where is this door direction is pointing to. The blocking at that direction will tell us what is the key thing that's being affected. But in most cases, from what we know, cluttering your main door passage area, your cash flow where you will get some issues.
Right.
In fact, bad issues. Okay, that's one.
So keep it clear.
Keep it clear, right? And your office environment, you realize that the minute that things are like a lot neater, you're actually in control of the situation.
Clarity.
Yes. So you can look at your work table. So some people have stacks of papers all the way in their work paper, on the desk. Maybe because of time, the person doesn't have sufficient time to complete everything. So a lot of
It
piling
piles
up
up.
and everything. So that's a sign in feng shui that you're going to lose control. You're going to get a lot of problems in your work, and your productivity is going to be off.
I see.
All right. So keep your tables clean, and then your desk should not be in the line of the door. If you're sitting in the line of the office door, all right, that will already represent a lot of instability in your work.
Right.
You may get one position in office. You hire one guy for that role. He will come in. Short amount of time, the person will go.
That particular seat you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So that's a bad feng shui place for whatever candidate is being hired
I see.
to
Okay.
use. At the end of the day, I would say I want you to bring it on a very scientific level. Everywhere you're sitting, question yourself this: has my performance went under for the last few months? Ever since I'm sitting like this?
In that particular
direction. Then you realize that obviously something is not right.
Even though you are putting in your best.
Yes. Okay. Now, in the Western world, people always stress on, if you're not successful, it's because you didn't hustle enough. You're
didn't
supposed to be
hustle,
hustling 24/7. I mean, nothing wrong with that. But in the world of the Chinese metaphysics, we don't often believe that it's all about hustling 24/7. I always tell people this: there's a lot more hardworking people in society right now that's working so hard, but they are not even getting close to the level of success that they're wishing right now. So it's not just about hard work, right?
So now if we move into, right, for Chinese New Year especially,
Yes.
homes,
Yeah.
right? Like given its association, like kitchens are usually like the heart of a home, right? So what role does a kitchen play in say feng shui for during Chinese New Year?
Sure. So your kitchen, as far as feng shui is concerned, the kitchen governs the position for the ladies at home. All right. So if your kitchen, in terms of your stove and your sink, is not well placed, it starts to present a lot of health issues for the ladies at home. All right. So by ladies, I usually refer to the mother at home or the oldest female at home who starts to face a problem. Very simple approach. Your stove and your sink should not be facing opposites. So let's just say your stove is here and then your sink is here and they're facing each other in the opposite direction.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So that just means it's a clashing of the fire and the water element. Then one will have to pay attention to issues that's got to do with the heart, things like diabetic, this sort of things will start to come out. All right. And of course, in your kitchen, right, your fridge is very important as well. Fridge governs your savings. So just give you a quick tip. If your fridge is facing the kitchen door, you realize that you get events every now and then that wipe out your saving very fast.
Thinking, where's my fridge?
So if you just open your kitchen door and right in front you see there's a fridge right there. So your fridge is facing your kitchen door.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah. You have to shift your fridge out to a better place. Okay. If you don't know what's a better place, but at least shift it out of the line of the
Out
door.
of the line of your door,
Yes.
basically.
The key appliances to look at would be your stove, your sink, your fridge. 3 things. So there's one thing that I also like to explain is this is what we often see, right? So when an individual, let's just say that individual is about to go through a challenging patch, timeline, he or she will somehow sometimes go and shift their furniture in different manners.
Unknowingly.
All right?
Okay. Interesting.
So that's why we always say this, the person that's going through what sort of life will get to live in the place that has the same accommodating Feng Shui layout.
Okay.
So example, if the person is going to go through challenges, his current house, in terms of Feng Shui, will show you a lot of key problems that has all been wrong right now.
Yes, it does. It's kind of like a reflection of their life within the environment.
You're right.
That means when you look as a Feng Shui master, when you look around, when you check their 𝙤𝙚, it actually aligns.
Yes, it will
It's a
align most of the
reflection.
time. So for example, someone who have a problem conceiving, then we look at their bed position, we see, there are some underlying issues already with the layout. That also explain issues, sometimes, clients with cysts, growth, cervical issues. So those are then in line with where they are actually sleeping right now, also contributed. But then again, if you study the date of birth and time, there's also signs saying that these are the key problems that they usually have to pay attention to. So the key has always been, 八字 only can tell you what are the timeline, what are key problems, but you can't always solve it with just 八字 alone, because that's only for you to understand what you likely will inhabit and the timeline for it to happen. So usually we always say 八字 is a diagnostic tools. Feng Shui is a solution.
Right. So that means using 𝙤𝙤, they cannot actually change their life path. They still have to use Feng Shui to sort of alter their energy, and it's like a system.
So I'll put that in specific. So if I want to use 八字 to change my life path, I have to be putting a lot of hard work. So example, by 八字, you can look at it and then understand there might be certain core traits that you want to bring out. So example, some people are more suited to be doing back-end roles, like research, business development, business analytics, while some people are more suitable to do front-end role, like sales. Okay, so if you understand this early, you're not wasting a lot of valuable time.
You get into the right job.
Yeah, you get into the right job. You make sure that you're taking somewhat of a sales role. You're always talking to people. You're connecting the connections. But not everyone can leverage on that. Okay, so that's one. So let's say I know this maybe at age 15 or 16 as a teenager. You may not have the ability to act on it yet, but you can then spend time on training. Right? Train how to do well in presentation. Train how to do closing. Right? Train what can you value add in terms for your clients or the person in front of you. Right? So that's hard work that what we can do. This is under the heaven, man, earth, the man part. Right? So the 1/3 comes from that. But the 八字 will tell you that there's a natural route map likely you'll be heading.
Right.
Okay,
like a guide.
Exactly.
Now, earlier you were saying, before we even came in, right, you were saying that, the role of a Feng Shui master, is, you were saying that some of them can do face reading. So I'm sure that as you're sitting around and you're traveling in the outside, you look at people's face, you can tell certain things, right? And then you sort of, or even with your friends and family, then I'm sure you have to hold the urge not to go in, tell them that this is going to happen to you. So earlier you were saying that, you cannot play God. Maybe you can share a little bit.
Sure. So the first rule is we are not allowed to do that because, in the law of nature, the person has not came to you yet. Also means that this person is not ready for this information that's about to give it to him. But if the person is ready, usually they will come and approach you, right? So our key thing has always been this. All of our clients have to take the first steps. They have to either book an appointment, they have to, say they have to see a Feng Shui masters, they have to book an appointment for past consultation. That's them taking the first steps. Once they have taken the first steps, we can release all information we know about them.
That means they want that support.
Yeah. It also means that for that client, the time is right for them to finally go through a new change.
Correct. Because sometimes the information may not be something they want to hear. So they have to be in a frame of mind to be ready to accept it.
That's one part of it. You're right. So that's why I would say that we can't play God and go around, look at a relative face, ask them for date of birth and time, and then start to do analysis. In the ancient time when people do a reading, there's an exchange of energy. All right? So the exchange of energy in the olden days, they give an ang pao, a red packet.
Okay. What do you mean by
Okay, exchange of energy means this person comes in and seek the Feng Shui master service for that information to change his life. In return, the person put in money as a red packet to exchange the energy.
Otherwise,
the Feng Shui masters will be the one affected. Okay. So for that sense, that's why we can't be the first person to approach anyone, despite us getting all the energy. Maybe we know how to do all the reading. We know what's going to happen to this person in 1 week. Even we have all this information, we have to keep quiet to ourselves. But if the person says, you know what, I face these issues, now I need your help to get out of it. Okay, the person is ready. Is ready. That's what we call the law of nature.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, so something exciting is right now, as you can see, it's a Chinese New Year special. We are in the year of the snake this year. Could you, sort of like tell us more about it, across, in general? I know we have 12 zodiac signs. Sure. So, what does it mean for all of us this year?
Sure. Let's just talk about the year energy in general. So 2025, in the year of, we call this the wood snake year. Wood is actually the element because we call 𝙒 right? Now, usually in a snake year, and you're born in the year of snake, we call this 𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚, which means you're sitting on the Jupiter, right? Which is the Grand Duke, right? It will mean that it'll be a year of change for you. Okay?
Is that a good thing or?
Okay, year of change, it depends. So if you are a person that's very comfortable with what you're doing right now, and you don't like change, you will start to attribute that as a bad thing that happens to you. But likewise, I always say is that, change may not always necessarily be bad. Okay? Change should be the key indicators or stimulus for us to push new level boundaries. So maybe you are doing, I don't know, you're doing like 100K right now or 60K right now. Maybe that change will bring you to a new position. Okay? So to prepare for change is key, right? And once you're prepared for change, adopt that change in a good way, then this will be a very good year for those that's born in the year of the snake. Okay, so that's one of the first rule I always talk about. Because in general, most people really resist change. They say, I'm in my job for like 20 years. Oh, there's a new management coming in. I'm not sure what's going to happen to my role.
But change is good, right?
Yes.
It challenges you. And
yeah. So by right, change asks us to do things that's out of the box. Okay. Because once you're too comfortable in your own skin, doing your own thing, and that's just being too routine, and then
that affects your energy.
You'll be stagnant, right? You'll be stagnant, and then you don't have to bring new records of performance in the work that you're doing right now. So I always say is that embrace that change, look out for key indicators, and at the end of the day, I always say, any human beings, as long they are highly valuable in the work that they do, I like to believe that no organization will let go of them because this is a highly valuable individual. So then how do we be of value to our organization? How do we of value to people in society? Right. So that's the key. So it's all about bringing more value across board. So whether value is in terms of upgrading your knowledge, it's increasing your professional level of conduct, right? That you used to be doing 1 to 10, now your professional conduct requires you to do 1 to 14. Is that better? Yeah, maybe.
And that improves your energy towards what you're doing as well as a
Exactly.
whole. Right.
Yeah.
So for the other zodiac signs, what is like maybe in general, what is a single most effective tip that you can give people to take away?
Sure. So, of course, the key is I actually do have a well prepared. I call this a winning guide. We release that every year. It covers all your aspects of all the different animal sign. But of course, understand this: your animal sign is only just one part of your date of birth and time. Using a parser system, the animal sign is only talking about the year in retrospective.
Okay.
Right? So there are some, of course, animal sign that more or less will go through more changes in 2025. But again, I did mention you do have to be fearful of the change because this change could brought you to new positions in life. The key thing, it would always be that at the end of the day, you want to also know when is the timeline for doing certain things. So for example, you look at the Chinese, we have certain date we would like to start work.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. But the key thing is we want to start things on the right context, right? Because actually different days have different energy. Now, a good day in general does not always mean it's good for everyone. So the best way to go about doing it is actually look at your own date of birth and time. Okay, so your own date of birth and time will tell you that when do you then use a good month. So those are the month you want to start new projects, do your marketing, do your expansion plan, do your traveling. Because those months tends to bring you a lot of positive returns. Then again, we don't always get, good months every other month.
Correct.
So in 12 months across the spectrum, you may have some months that tends to be a bit more challenging. So I usually use those months to improvise our KPIs, our SOPs, our systems, or look for things to upgrade. Because those are the months that it's not for you to outwardly expand or do overly marketing activity, but more look inwards, right? What are things you can improve on from the KPIs, maybe from the team training. So those are months that we do if the months tend to
Certain
get
things.
challenging. Yeah.
Right. Now, so thank you so much. We've come to the end. So just before we go, what's your wish for everyone? This Chinese year of the snake.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here today.
welcome.
So one of my key wishes has always been that this is my core advice, no matter where are you right now, first and foremost, understand this. For some of you that's in the dark tunnel right now, understand that light will come at the end of the tunnel. It will happen. Leave your energy and have a new manifestation to the universe. Ask the right question. What must I do to get the right outcome?
Right.
Ask what. Don't ask why. Okay? Because if you ask what, the universe will show you the answers. I hope that in this 2025, it will be the biggest transformation year for every one of us, especially those of us you are not in the best place that you find yourself right now. Don't give up, please, because I know that as long you're not giving out, the day of light will come, and you will get to the best place of your life in time. So let this be the transformation year for 2025.
Wow, thank you so much. And before I let you go, I just wanted to say that and ask. You've cleared up a lot of, for someone who didn't really have an understanding about Feng Shui, finally, I think I've got some clarity in that it's a lot to do with your energy and the environment that you create for yourself or is created for you, right, at the end of the day. And particularly the part where you shared that if your mind is in chaos, it reflects around you as well. And I think that is really interesting. So I have to ask, what is the most rewarding thing about being a Feng Shui master?
I think the most rewarding thing this far in my journey is I've met many, many individuals. Some individuals that I've seen their transformation from the day that they saw me to where they are at now. So some came from very difficult position. Okay. But of course, not everyone is like that. I do get a good amount of clients. They are in very good position. So, and then my job is to empower them to be even better. The one biggest takeaway in my consulting career for 25 years is, and I've taught this a lot to my students in in metaphysics is we often use metaphysics as a tool to be our key guideline in our life. That's one. And because of the fact that people come from all walks of life, they may be going through different challenges, obstacles, struggles, but having to see them from that struggle to eventually in that best place that you're in right now, I think there is no other job I can do to find a more rewarding career than this. So I'm thankful for the universe, for all the amazing teachers I met, for all the amazing customers that I've come across, and I'm glad that I'm able to just even make just a 1% difference in their life. But I think this is a lot more meaningful than just monetary gain per se, because I think my motto in life has always been, when we are alive, always ask ourselves, how can we add value to this society, so that the day we are gone, people always remember the value they have brought to society, and it's not just about ourselves. So that is the one thing and my biggest takeaway.
Right, that's fantastic. And what advice would you give to someone interested in becoming a Feng Shui master?
First and foremost, you must be willing to learn. You must be willing to learn. You must be coachable. You must be open to a lot of new concepts, because sometimes these are not taught in conventional schools. Just like in schools, they don't really teach us about money that much. Ask yourself, before learning about any of this, what is the outcome you want to get? Are you learning to better yourself, or are you learning to benefit your family members around you? Because once you know your why, it gives you a better reasons to stay on course. So if I can be given a knowledge to know what's going on, to better plan for the future, and if I benefit from this system, how can I use this system to benefit the remaining others? Because I'm pretty sure there are people that's also going through difficult time.
And it has impacted your life, right?
Exactly. So likewise, for the teachers I've experienced, thankful for their guidance, and with that, I continue on the journey to guide more people in their life. That's the key, is stay on to find out what is your why. You will go through the system, learn all the proper knowledge, and then I'm pretty sure you'll be a good Feng Shui master.
Right. Thank you so much. And I think, thank you so much for your time and all the interesting things that you have shared. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning into Open House. And, remember, for every question that you have a guest here that has the answers for you. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, leave suggestions, as to who are the other guests that you want to see. And of course, follow us on our socials for more updates. And till next time, Happy Chinese New Year.